Hi, I'm Kara Powell, and I'm a faculty member at Fuller Seminary, and I also get to work with the amazing team at the Fuller Youth Institute. I am so glad and honored to be part of Leadership Network's implementation labs. In the lab that I will be sharing, we're going to be looking at our growing young research. We at the Fuller Youth Institute, we've realized that the typical church in the U.S. is shrinking and/or aging. We aren't satisfied with that, and I bet you aren't either. So we spent over 4 years studying 250 diverse congregations that are beating those odds. Instead of aging or shrinking, they're growing and growing young. Now, as we spent 4 years studying these 250 diverse churches, we identified a handful of keys that are essential to help a church love and engage young people. All of these keys are relevant to you, and in fact, I'm going to give you a little glimpse of what I'm going to be sharing about in the implementation lab coming up. One of the first keys that these churches used in order to help young people love and discover their church was a different tone of leadership. Yes, it usually started with leadership. Leadership was often the catalyst in what helped these churches do a better job engaging young people. But what was fascinating about our growing young research is the type of leadership that works with young people is different than what we might think. A lot of times we think that we have to be hip or cool or maybe even young in order to engage young people. And let me tell you, we did have young, hip, cool leaders in our study. But actually, some of the most effective leaders, well, they would be the last ones to say that they were young or cool or hip. Instead, what they did is they were what we came to call keychain leaders. You see, they realized as church leaders that they have keys, meaning power and access and opportunities that they can hand over to young people. So these effective leaders, they were constantly looking for who's the teenager, who's the young adult, who's the young married person that I can hand over keys to and help them be more involved in our church and change our church. In fact, that was one of the amazing byproducts in these churches that are growing young, is as young people became part of their church, across the board, these leaders unanimously said, as we handed keys over to young people, they brought about a new vitality to our church, new energy, new innovation, new creativity, new growth, both numerical as well as spiritual and relational growth. So that's just a glimpse of what I'm going to be sharing with you in the upcoming implementation lab. And let me tell you, I'm a researcher, but I'm also a pragmatist. So we're going to get practical in what our growing young research means for you and changes that you can make in the next 30 days so that your church can more effectively love and serve teenagers and young adults. Also, in our implementation lab, we're going to be giving you a sneak peek at our new Growing Young assessment. And if you watch our Growing Young implementation lab, you're going to get a special discount that can save your church a lot of money in figuring out the next best steps for you to take in order to grow young. So stay tuned, don't miss our Growing Young implementation lab. I can't wait to learn with you, from you, and help us experience all God has for our churches together. Thanks.